Work continues on the Zuul Runner build project, and today we're going to solve the problem with the steering setup. Plus, I'm going to catch you up on what's been going on with this build. It's episode 3 of the Zuul Runner build series, so let's get started. So, what's been going on with this build? Well, we went over the parts that were needed. We outlined the plan for the project. The motor mount and center diff were rotated 180 degrees. The missing front diff and center drive shaft were installed, and we encountered the first issue with this build, the steering link. So if you want to go ahead and check out those previous videos, the link to the playlist will be down in the description below. Now that you're all caught up, let's go ahead and head on over to the workbench, and I'll tell you how I'm going to solve the problem with that steering. All right, so here's the plan. Because we rotated the center differential and the motor mount, the motor is now sitting where the servo normally would sit. Normally the servo sits here like this, and the steering link connects to the servo arm. That's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip everything over, put the servo on this side, and instead of using this stock link, we're going to get rid of that. And we are going to make a short link that's going to go from the servo arm here to the bell crank here. This is actually a really simple solution. I can't believe I didn't think of this to begin with. I just need to look at it with a fresh pair of eyes. And this is going to be super simple. We'll still be able to use the stock mounting system for the servo. The only issue, and it's a simple one, is that the servo mounts to the servo mount like this, and it goes in here on the chassis like so. That seems pretty straightforward and simple, but as you can see right here, the bell crank hits the front of the servo case. This isn't going to work. The servo needs to be pushed back about 2 millimeters in order to clear that. But take the servo out of here real quick. If you look here, that little nub that's on the servo mount right there is hitting the bulkhead of the center differential. So what we're gonna have to do is we are going to shave off this edge right here on the servo mount. So that'll give us the space that we need to allow us to push the servo back about 2 millimeters. The problem is we're going to end up cutting off that second hole on the servo mount to mount it to the chassis. But all we have to do is just drill a new hole in here and tap it, and then drill corresponding holes onto the chassis. Countersink those holes. Everything will mount up super easy. So that's the plan. Now I just got to go out to the shop in the garage and start working on it. All right, so now I need to transfer these two holes down to the chassis. The easy way to do that is to insert a set screw into these holes and have it just so it sticks up just a little bit. Put a little paint from the paint marker on the ends of the set screws. Line everything up, press it down onto the chassis. That should leave two little marks on the chassis, and then I can use my center punch to punch the holes and take them out to the drill press and draw out those holes. Now that the servo is installed, I need to make a link. First, I'll need to remove that ball stud, and then I can use two shock rod ends, two 14mm screws, two pivot balls, a lock nut, and a 12mm set screw. All this will make the perfect size link to mount right here, right in the steering. All right, so now that we got the steering all figured out, we can move on to the rest of the items that need to be done. There's a long list of the items that need to be finished. Just off the top of my head, I know I have the front shock tower needs to be drawn up and cut out. That will allow for longer shocks to be put on the vehicle. We also have the mounts for the chassis rails that needs to be drawn up and machined. The rear axle, that's going to be a hybrid between the Element Enduro and Team Associated MT12 axle. That all needs to be put together, and I know a lot of you are wondering how I did that. We'll go over that in detail when that time comes. And then we can move on to the body. Putting that cage and the body together, that's going to be fun. Then I have to figure out how I'm going to paint the body. I have no idea how I'm going to do that just yet. If you have a suggestion, leave a comment down below. So I think that's everything on the list. I'm probably missing something, but we'll figure it out. Anyways, that's all coming up in the next few episodes. I hope you'll tune in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell on. We'll see you next time.